Hello everyone, my name is Pavita, Assistant Professor in CSC Department 8 RPIIT Campus Bastada Karnal. Welcome to our YouTube channel RPIIT Academics. If you like the content of this channel, please don't forget to subscribe and save the content. Let's talk today characteristics of operating system. What is a program? A program is an initiative unit such as a file stored on a disk, a unit of work submitted by a user. What is a process? A program in education. जो हमारा प्रोग्राम एजुकेशन में वो क्या था हमारा प्रोसेस. फॉर एग्जाम्पल व्हेन यू डबल क्लिक द माइक्रोसॉफ्ट वर्ड आइकन यू स्टार्ट अ प्रोसेस दैट रन वर्ड. एवरी प्रोसेस कंटेन अ प्रोग्राम कोड एंड द एग्जिस्टिंग एक्टिविटी. और जो हमारी प्रोसेस होती है वो क्या कंटेन करती है हमारे प्रोग्राम कोड को और एग्जिस्टिंग एक्टिविटी को. अ प्रोसेस कैन कंज्यूम considerable amount of memory. Therefore, they are greatly dependent on the resources available for execution. Hence, a process is known as to be heavyweight process. If there are more processes present, the switching between each process is heavily expensive as it will take time from each memory allocations to switch to another allocation. Each process has its own address space, which consists of a text region, data region and stack region. A process is independent of other process, so when a parent process is modified, it was not necessarily affected other process. Process require inter-process communication, that is called IPC, so they can communicate with their process state. This diagram defines process state, that is when as new admitted, then ready, waiting, that is dispatched, running and interrupt. Between them that is defined exist, terminated. Input output event completions and input output event wait. This state of process is defined in part by a current activity of that process. Each process might be in one of the following state. First one, new. That process is being created. Running instructions are being executed. Waiting process is waiting for some event to occur, such as input output. Ready process is waiting to be assigned to processor. Terminated process has finished execution. Why do process make transitions between states? Process that are the ready, running and waiting state are activity containing process time. Hence the operating system manages state. To prevent any process from monopolizing the system, either hard and interrupting clock allow a process to run for a specific time interval. Process state and state. How do process make transaction between the state? When a user run a program, the system creates new process and places in the queue. From new state, the process moves to ready state when it's ready to run but waiting for the CPU. In some system, the process might be placed on the ready list directly. When a processor becomes available, process is given process and it's set to make state transition from the ready state to the running state. If the process does not enter the given fourth processor before the time interval expires, the interrupting clock generates interrupt and the operating system will gain control of the processor. The operating system will then change the state of the previous running process to ready and dispatch the first process on the ready list, changing its state for ready to running. Process control block, that is called PCB. Each process is a system represented by data structure called a process control block called PCB that performs the same functions as traveler's passport. PCB is also known as process. The PCB contains the basic information about the job, including what it is, where it's going, how much of its processing has been completed, where it's stored and how much it has spent in using resources. Process identification. Each job is uniquely identified by user identification and pointer connecting to its descriptor. Process state indicate the current state of the job, new, ready, running, waiting, terminated. Process state contain all the information needed to indicate the current state of the job, such as process state word, register content. The current instruction counter and register content when the job is not running but either is hold or ready to waiting. If the job is running, this information is left. Register content is contain the register if the job has been interrupted and is waiting to resume processing. Main memory, important information including the address when the job is stored and is the case of virtual memory. The mapping between virtual and physical memory location. Resource, information about all resources allocated to this job. Each job has ID field listing type and field describe detail of allocation such as sector address on a disk. Process priority used by system using scheduling algorithm to select which job will be run next. Accounting contain information used mainly for billing purpose and performance measurement. It indicates what kind of resource the job used and for how long. Typically, charges include amount of CPU time used from beginning to end its execution, total time the job was in the system until it's exited, main storage, secondary storage as used during execution, system program used such as compiler, editor, or number and type of input output operation including time spent waiting for input output, number of input records read and output record written. PCB and queuing. A job PCB is created when the system accepts the job and is updated and the job progress from beginning to the end of its execution. Queue use PCB to track job the same way custom official use passport to track international visitor. The PCB node job are linked from queue as shown in next slide. The PCB every job are linked on the ready queue and all the PCBs for the job just entering the system are linked to the new queue. That is defined in this slide. The jobs that are waiting are linked to several queues whereby jobs which are waiting for specific in output and grouped together. Example, the PCB for jobs that are waiting for the input output on specific disk drive are linked together while those waiting for the line printer are linked in different queues. These queues need to be managed in orderly function. That is defined page interrupt, disk input output queue, tape input output queue, printer input output queues, other input output queues. Thread. A thread is single sequence stream within a process. Threads refer to single thread of instructions of thread of control. Because threads have some of properties of process, they are sometimes called lightweight process called LWP. Processes are used to group resources together and thread of entities scheduling for execution of the CPU. In many respects, threads are popularly way to improve application through parallelisms. Thread versus processes. Process heavyweight thread lightweight, slower context switching, faster context switching thread, expensive IPC in process, direct communication thread, independent process thread, share state and resources, process secure protected memory space thread, shared memory space. Thank you so much for watching this video.